Hey everyone, welcome to Rocky Watches Movies. It's that time of year when everyone is hopefully feeling jolly and joyful. So today, we're stepping into Nakatomi Plaza for a look at one of the greatest action films of all time, Die Hard from 1988. Bruce Willis's role as John McClane turned this film into a classic and him into an action movie legend. But behind the explosions and epic one-liners lies a treasure trove of fascinating trivia and behind-the-scenes secrets. So put on your white vest, take off your shoes, and let's shoot through 20 things you never knew about Die Hard. The film is actually based on Roderick Thorpe's 1979 crime novel, Nothing Lasts Forever, a sequel to his 1966 book, The Detective. In 2013, Nothing Lasts Forever was reissued after years out of print to mark the 25th anniversary of the movie. The inspiration for the story came from an unusual source: John Guillermin's 1974 disaster film The Towering Inferno. After watching the movie, Thorpe had a vivid dream about a man being chased through a skyscraper by armed men. That dream became the foundation for the book, which he developed into a follow-up to The Detective. Clint Eastwood originally planned to play John McClane. He owned the rights to Nothing Lasts Forever in the early 1980s, but never moved forward with the project. Frank Sinatra was offered the role of John McClane due to his part in The Detective, a prequel to Die Hard, but at 73 he wisely declined. Bruce Willis was far from the studio's first choice for the role. They initially sought an established action star, reportedly approaching Sylvester Stallone, Harrison Ford, Robert De Niro, Charles Bronson, Nick Nolte, Mel Gibson, Richard Gere, Don Johnson, Burt Reynolds, and Richard Dean Anderson, none of whom accepted. Sam Neill was first considered for Hans Gruber, but passed. The role ultimately went to Alan Rickman after casting directors saw his standout performance in a stage production of Dangerous Liaisons. The producers didn't have anything against Bruce Willis, they just didn't see him as the obvious choice for the lead. At the time, Willis was primarily known as a comedic actor, not an action star. However, the success of Die Hard transformed his career, making action films his primary domain. While Willis has won 2 Emmys for his work in comedy, the action genre has defined his career ever since. Willis only got to make the film because his moonlighting co-star Sybil Shepherd announced her pregnancy, and the show's producer, Glenn Caron, decided to give the cast and crew an 11-week break, as her pregnancy wouldn't fit the storyline. The studio's marketing team wasn't convinced that audiences would flock to see an action movie starring Willis, best known at the time as the comedic lead from Moonlighting. As a result, the initial posters for Die Hard focused on Nakatomi Plaza rather than Willis's face. However, as the film gained momentum and proved to be a hit, the marketing was adjusted to feature Willis more prominently in the promotional materials. Despite those doubts about whether Bruce Willis could carry an action film, he was paid a whopping $5 million to star in Die Hard. At the time, this was an unusually large paycheck, typically reserved for Hollywood's top-tier stars. Though Alan Rickman played the role of Hans Gruber with a smooth, calm menace, it was actually his first major role in a feature film. Before this, he had done a bit of TV work, but was mostly known as a great stage actor. John McTiernan initially turned down the opportunity to direct, not just once, but several times. He felt the material was too dark and cynical. In an interview, McTiernan explained, "The original screenplay was a grim terrorist movie. On my second week working on it, I said, guys, there's no part of terrorism that's fun. Robbers are fun bad guys. Let's make this a date movie." The producers luckily had the courage to follow his vision. In the original script, the action of Die Hard unfolded over the course of 3 days. However, McTiernan, inspired by Shakespeare's A Midsummer Night's Dream, insisted that the story be condensed into a single evening. If you're enjoying the video, a subscribe to the channel would make it a very Merry Christmas. The corporate headquarters of 20th Century Fox, the very studio producing the film, turned out to be the perfect location for the film's iconic Nakatomi Plaza. Since the building was still under construction, not much was needed to make the space look movie-ready. In an interesting twist, The studio even charged itself rent to use its own space. One of the most nerve-wracking sequences is when McClane uses the strap from his gun to rappel down a ventilation shaft. Then the strap slips off the gun, causing McClane to fall a terrifying distance, just as he's about to grab a vent and climb to safety. The fall was actually an on-set mistake. The stuntman was supposed to grab the first vent but missed it, resulting in an unexpected fall from a significant height before he managed to catch himself. Once it was confirmed that the stuntman was unharmed, director McTiernan knew that this genuine moment of danger had to make it into the final cut. To create the illusion that Hans Gruber was falling off a building, Rickman was supposed to drop 20 feet onto an airbag while holding onto a stuntman. However, to get a genuinely terrified reaction from him, the crew decided to drop him on the count of 2 instead of the planned count of 3. The unexpected drop caught Rickman off guard, resulting in a more authentic, panicked reaction that made the scene even more memorable. To achieve the hyper-realism that the director was aiming for, the blanks used in the guns were specifically modified to be extra loud. In one scene, Bruce Willis shoots a terrorist through a table, placing him in extremely close proximity to the gunfire. This resulted in permanent hearing loss for the actor. Willis said in an interview, "Due to an accident on the first Die Hard, I suffered 2/3 partial hearing loss in my left ear and have a tendency to say, 'What?'" The scene where Hans Gruber pretends to be an escaped hostage, adopting an American accent, was insisted on by screenwriter Steven D'Souza. He wanted a tense face-off between Gruber and John McClane in the same room. However, McTiernan was never fully satisfied with Rickman's attempt at an American accent. Reflecting on the scene, McTiernan admitted, "I still hear Alan Rickman's English accent. I was never quite happy with the way he opened his mouth. I shot it 3 times, trying to get him to sound more stridently American. It's odd for someone with such enormous verbal skills, he just had terrible trouble getting an American accent." Alan Rickman's convincing German accent, though, might make viewers forget that he's actually British. But that's where the theatrical release's accuracy regarding Germany ends. Because the majority of the German dialogue was apparently gibberish. It was largely fabricated with a few genuine German words to create lines that would sound believably German. This, of course, would later be fixed for the VHS release. In the German version of the film, they sidestepped the issue entirely by reimagining Gruber and his men as generic European terrorists. Interestingly, while much of the film's German elements were fake, Bruce Willis, who plays the all-American hero, was actually born in West Germany to an American father and a German mother. Since Willis spends much of his time running barefoot through broken glass, he was equipped with a pair of rubber feet as a safety precaution. While practical for the action sequences, the prop wasn't entirely seamless. If you look closely in certain scenes, you can spot the fake appendages, giving away the clever movie magic. John McClane's iconic sweaty blood-soaked top has become a piece of movie history, literally. In 2007, Bruce Willis donated the top he wore in the film to the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History. Surprisingly, Bruce Willis has revealed that the now legendary Yippee-Ki-Yay line was an ad-lib, intended to amuse the crew. "I was just trying to crack up the crew," Willis admitted. "I never thought it was going to be allowed to stay in the film." Little did anyone know that this offhand joke would become one of the most unforgettable lines in action movie history. The hostage room in Die Hard isn't just any room. It's meant to represent Frank Lloyd Wright's Falling Water. According to production designer Jackson DeGovia, the design choice was a nod to the era's corporate culture. In this period, Japanese corporations were buying America, DeGovia has said. "We posited that Nakatomi Corporation bought Falling Water, disassembled it, and reassembled it in the atrium, like a trophy." One of the baddest of Gruber's gang was Carl. He was played by Alexander Godunov, who started out as a ballet dancer in the Soviet Union, before defecting to the US in 1982. He unfortunately passed away in 1995 at the age of just 45. And there you have it, folks. You now know a little bit more about Die Hard. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one, bye for now.